Leeds United need all sorts of players in this transfer window, and that includes your grizzled veteran defenders who can really keep you in a game, the 35-year-old, many goals a season striker that will keep you up. But this is something a little bit different, and this guy could be absolutely ridiculous as Leeds United are making a move for Semih Kılıçsoy. I'm going to keep trying to pronounce that. If I get it wrong, my apologies. If someone knows the language in the comments, that would be massively appreciated. Also, whilst you're down there, pop on a like, that'd be massively appreciated, and subscribe. Anyway, diving into it, we need to discuss exactly who Semih Kılıçsoy is, because he is a very good player from everything I've seen of him. He is a 19-year-old forward born in 2005 who managed to break his way into the Besiktas side at the age of 17, which I've got to be honest is absolutely ridiculous. Like, the Super League is not a fantastic division, but it ain't half bad. And debuting into that division at that age shows that there is a real level of talent there. In addition to that, whilst I have noted on the thumbnail that he's down as a top striker because I think he has the potential to be, he does play anywhere across the line. So that means that you can play a little bit deeper as like a shadow striker, or maybe a number 10 who plays on the left wing and the right wing whenever needed. In terms of his level, he scored 11 goals in 23 matches in the 23-24 season, and those weren't all starts. He played something like 18 90s or something like that, which means that his return is ridiculous. He's got more than 0.5 goals for every 90 minutes that he plays, which admittedly it is in the Turkish league, but that ain't half bad either. He's played a bit less this season, which has seen his numbers drop off a little bit because he's been getting the odd sub appearance here and there, but let's be honest, that ain't half bad for a young player that has a lot of potential to grow. And in addition to that, he's had 4 caps for Turkey at the age of, I believe he was 18 when he got his first caps. That started in June of 2024, and I'm sure that will continue going forwards. If I remember right, I distinctly remember this guy's name from the Euros, but I'm not 1,000% certain. I'm going to have to very check that. And it wasn't. His debut was against Italy. But I'm going to have a sniff around. I'm going to find out a little bit more about that, but we'll find out. However, when it comes to transfers, one of the biggest questions that everyone has is how much a move would cost. And in this specific instance, a move would not be on the cheap side, that has to be admitted, but he'd be valued at around 20 million euros, which I think is not too bad given the level of player that he is. One quick second. Aha. In that one quick second, I had a chance to take a quick look at his international history, and he has, in fact, played at the Euros. He played, admittedly, off the bench, but for Turkey in the quarterfinals of Euro 2024. He was on the bench for all of the other matches, but to be called up to your international side for a major tournament at the age of 18, that ain't half bad. And not getting into the team behind the sort of players that they have is, again, not the worst. And that is just going to keep on adding to his value. And I think that is a thing that is going to get worse and worse as time goes on, because I don't particularly see him being hugely consistently left out of the squad. Admittedly, last time around he was with the under-21s national team, but that was because they quite badly needed to qualify, I believe, for a tournament, which makes sense. Like, you're going to shift players around to make sure as many of your youth groups are able to get into competitions as possible. But there is a lot of quality here, and there is a lot of quality here, and that's why Besiktas recognised that and gave him a contract until 2028, which does not help when it comes to the price, because it's not exactly like they're in a position where they are forced to sell. It's not like they're going to be a season away from having to give him away on a free. No, this is one of those situations where clubs that want to buy him are going to have to pay a fair market value, and unfortunately, in this situation, that team is us. He has had a hell of a lot of interest from other clubs as well. I've seen Aston Villa discussed around him. I've seen Everton. I think I saw some other various clubs, but I've managed to close that tab because I am an idiot. Let's have a very quick check. My apologies, everybody. It is a warm day, and that means that I'm running very slowly. Yeah, Villa, Newcastle were in the conversation as well. It is looking like there is a lot of conversation around Kılıçsoy. However, a lot of people might be hearing this conversation and thinking, is this guy necessarily what we need? Which is a very fair question. You're a club that has just gone into the Premier League. You're probably looking at staying solid rather than the young players that can develop and become excellent and all that kind of stuff. And I would say in response to that, that it's very hard to say, and that you do realistically need to get a range of things. If you just focus on those stodgy defenders, the midfielder that's a bit of a Premier League veteran, the striker that's good for 10 a season, not more than that, but not less than that, then I think what you're doing is realistically you're limiting yourself. If you have a look at what happened the last time we got promoted to the Premier League, you will think, who was the key signing in that transfer window? And it's the guy that is on the brink of probably securing the Ballon d'Or this season. It would be Rafinha, who we signed for something like, I think, 17 million euros or 17 million pounds, something along those lines. And you look at his profile and you think, well, he wasn't that young, stodgy player who'd spent year after year after year at one club, forging an identity as someone that was solid and dependable and reliable. He was someone that was young, that was talented, that was up and coming, that was realistically destined to do something really, really, really good. And that, in my opinion, is the sort of area that Kılıçsoy is in. He's in the area of, this guy can be absolutely ridiculous, because we saw what he did in a single season where he scored, again, 11 goals in what was effectively 18 and a half matches. And whilst the Super League is not brilliant, it ain't a walk in the park either. It's, I would say, upper end championship in terms of level, which is not a bad place to be for an 18-year-old. If we had an 18-year-old forward at Leeds United last season, they scored 11 in what was effectively 18 matches, we'd be saying, no, they get to start in the Premier League. They've earned that. And I think Kılıçsoy falls firmly into that category. So if the question becomes, would you sign Kılıçsoy? I would say absolutely yes. I think he is a fantastic footballer that has a very, very big future ahead of him. And I think Leeds United choosing to become a part of that future, I don't know how big of a part of that future. It could be relatively short term. It could be have him for a couple of years and then he moves on. It could be he decides to stay at Leeds because he loves it that much. It could be anything. But I think it would be a mistake for us to not at least make something of a move for this guy. As has been reported by various places saying that Leeds are sending folks over to Istanbul to have that conversation, the inevitable will pop up. People will say, he's Turkish, I don't want him. As far as I am aware, he has no affiliation with that club, and I don't want to paint an entire nationality with one brush. I know some people will. I would rather we don't, because that is an unhealthy place to be. And I think this guy is a ridiculously good player, and we don't need to tar him with the brush of other clubs and their actions. But at the end of the day, that is all what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. That would be absolutely fantastic. Like if you've not yet, that's also wonderful. Subscribe, because I'm trying to get as high as possible throughout this transfer window. I'm not going to put a number on it because I'm just going to be an optimist. Could even become a channel member. It's $2.99 a month, and you get videos like this one a little bit early. Recording this one about 1:30 on, is it Tuesday? I think it's Tuesday. On Tuesday. I'll be making it public at about 4, but from 1:30 till 4, all the members get early access. So that is absolutely wonderful. Either way, hope you enjoyed, and I will see you later. A little bit of a hint for you as well. If you comment the words kit reveal, please, I will do the Yorkshire Roses shirt reveal tomorrow. If 10 people comment that, I'll go for it. See you later.